welcome to a Greninja Alakazam Deck highlight for Pokemon Pocket. These are both incredibly powerful Stage 2 attackers that are also very reasonable inside of a two-color strategy because their attacks only require a single of their specific color and then colorless past that. This gives us flexibility around the fact that we don't control which color energies we're getting when in our two-color strategy. It's also important when you're playing a two-color deck in this game that your early attackers lean on colorless energy, which is why we have Frogadier as well as Kangaskhan here that just need a single energy of any kind to start putting points on the board. I think the real strength in playing a deck like this is how dynamic its game plan can be. Your opponent has to have their strategy prepared to not only beat Greninja, but also the massive damage that Alakazam can put up as well, meaning they have to be more flexible and can't easily predict what exactly you're going to be doing when. At any rate, I hope you enjoy this fantastically fun and powerful matchup. If you do, smash that like button for the rest of the day. Enjoy. There's almost 10 of them up there now, and we're not slowing down anytime soon. I'm still not a fan of moves that can do 0 damage. If Kangaskhan gave me the option to always deal 30, I'd probably accept it, but you're just not given the option. Would you use a 90 HP deal 30 basic? I don't think so, because 90 HP versus 100 means you get one shot by Pikachu EX and you get one shot by Starmie EX. So those, we refer to those as breakpoints. And those are important things to think about when you're looking at like HP counts for things. Is what do the card's breakpoints look like compared to other things that are being played in the metagame? And again, I would like to just bring up for people who weren't here earlier to hear me say this. When I was testing this deck over the weekend, I won a game where I flipped 9 tails in a row with Kangaskhan. And I'm not exaggerating, I started counting at 6. Basically, the reason why I won was I had an Alakazam set up on the bench they couldn't afford to switch me into. So they had a Blitzel they were trying to murder my stuff with while my Kangaskhan kept missing it. So we had this awkwardly long game where my Kangaskhan kept missing, but their Blitzel couldn't keep up with my stuff. Speaking of missing, though, Mama heard me talking smack and she decided to lay the smack down and show y'all what's up. Sometimes you gotta throw hands, gamers. Oh, mama. I'm really surprised they put Pikachu EX up here in order to let me put damage on it. Raichu seems not good. Raichu is a card that is not good in a vacuum. However, thankfully, most of the time, your cards in a TCG aren't being sucked up. So Raichu is a card that's very reasonable in the context of Lieutenant Surge existing. As is always, context is key and the details matter. Magneton with Raichu as well. Yeah, so Raichu, for those not familiar, 3 energy, deal 140, but you have to discard all the energy from it. So this is a finisher with the card Lieutenant Surge, which lets you move lightning energy from your bench to your active. So Raichu essentially lets you set up this like 140 to finish the game, or 2 140s in a row with Lieutenant Surge to close the game out over 2 turns. 140 on a stage 1 is quite good. I accept. And for reference, they can see that I have a guaranteed Psychic next turn. crack you for 90. Any other questions? Oh, you know what? If they have X speed and Lieutenant Surge, their Raichu knocks out my Alakazam here. Okay. No, the Giovanni here means that if I... The Giovanni is actually kind of scary. Because it means that if I... Sporadicus, I hope you and yours stay safe through the worst of it today. Thank you for the Hawaii 5-0. No, I think I just take my match point. I think having them lose the game to us knocking out anything. I don't think Sabrina actually forces a hard choice yet. I think they just put Raichu up and it eats 60 and it's not a big deal. Alright, I'm missing Greninja now. But I get a draw and then a Professor's Research into 8 cards with 2 Greninjas. They gave me a Frogadier, so I find a Greninja here in a really good spot. Never lucky rubber ducky. All right, that means they don't get a freebie. They can't just knock me out and hope I don't draw Greninja. All right, they got their whole deck in their hand. They got their whole big deck in their hand. Do 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 do. Yep, here's the retreat. They could Lieutenant Surge and like crack us with Raichu, but I don't know how they recover from there. All right, they're still dead to Greninja here. They're building up Raichu as a second finisher, so they're dead to our 60%er. Force the Raichu up. Do they have any lines where they're not dead to Greninja? They had lines where they weren't dead to Greninja this turn, but long term, I think they're always just dead to the Greninja, yeah. All right, 2 Greninjas and a Professor's Research in my deck next turn. I mean, their red card saved them this game. I would have had a Greninja if we didn't get red carded. We got red carded, and then we've gotten incredibly unlucky after the red card. Yes, top deck Greninja was lethal for the last 2 turns now. Or for last turn and this turn now. I have to imagine one of their 3 cards we haven't seen is Surge. But again, because we're a 1 prize deck, they can't just switch up and do a burst, right? We had our 75%er to find a frog, so the game is over. I get to use our X speed to retreat for 2. I get to go ahead and use my Shuriken and then crack for 60 to finish the 80 HP. Second. Kangaskhan ready to start throwing down the pain. Some cards that feel bad, like Hella feels bad. Like, I think Misty is kind of a comparable card to Hella. But when Misty happens in high roll, speaking of Misty, it happens at the very start of the game, and I don't feel like my entire set was wasted, right? Like, it's a front-loaded variance as opposed to a back-loaded variance. Nice shirt, thanks. Into the AM. Into the AM keeps me well fit. This stuff is lovely. They already played a red card. Sometimes they have room for 2, but if we could find some more basics here, that'd be great. Yeah, Kadabra would, or an Abra would be nice. Start putting in points here. I would like if you would strangle this star, please, Kangaskhan. Let's take it out. No! It's the opposite of what we wanted. Never lucky. Chat with their infallible logic. Above average mistake. That being said, it still takes them 2 turns to knock out. This is the strength of Kangaskhan, right? It's like it's gonna take them 2 turns to get through Madork here. And I need 1 heads here. Oh, actually, I guess if we full bricked it would be fine because they've got 3 energies for the Misty. I just need to buy some time for Alakazam to get set up here. Yeah, Misty rolling 3 was better for us than Misty rolling 2 because of the Alakazam. I'm a little sad I can't draw Greninja now, but I'm extra happy that I decided to go into the Kadabra. Take your 1 point. This paralyzes? Flips are going to paralyze, okay. Yeah, that was a bad potion from the opponent unless they're just trying to play around red card. I think this is actually an instance where I don't put the Kangaskhan on my bench because I don't want to get Sabrina to put my Alakazam back. These flips don't matter. What could get them out of this? If they have, well, I guess if they, actually, I should have put up the Kangaskhan, because if they Sabrina my Alakazam and hit it for 90 this turn. No, I messed up. I was thinking I didn't want them to Sabrina me off of the Alakazam after they knock out this Khan, but actually, if they Sabrina this turn, I want the other Khan in play. I think my opponent punted there. I think my opponent's out to win this game was me knocking out the Starmie and then them paralyzing Alakazam twice. I think if I just don't give them a Sabrina knockout here, we're good to go. Because this does 150. I think they're out to win this. Was KO the Kangaskhan, we KO the Starmie, they flip 2 heads and paralyze me twice in a row on the 25%er. Because this Alakazam is just a one-shot machine from here. And I didn't bench, because I didn't bench anything here, we play around to Sabrina. So, not benching failed to play around Sabrina on the previous turn, but plays around it on subsequent turns. Yeah, exactly. They should have taken the 25%er. I guess they could high roll another Misty. They're out here? They need to like Misty. I don't know. I think they're just dead. We'll see what they can do, obviously, because we're still playing, but I'm not sure they have outs. Alakazam is a really, really solid finisher. And like this game was extra impressive. We beat a three-head coin flip on Misty this game, yeah? Which is pretty rare. Good night. A favorite, Kangaskhan. Get the Dukes up on the first round. Or are they doing Dragonite stuff? Alakazam is hilarious against Dragonite stuff. Oh no, Dark Pokemon! Boo, Erds! Digging for some frogs. Digging for some frogs. 50% to get a Froakie. Nailed it. Easy game. Part of me would like to have space to set up a second frog on my bench, but I want to play these out just to play around getting red carded, I think. Average 30-point Kangaskhan swing. The uncertainty on how much damage Kangaskhan does also creates tension for your opponents, which is nice. They just don't get to know exactly how much you're cracking them for the following turn. I really like the observation someone in chat had earlier about how the coin flips make it so you can't know with 100% certainty what's going to be the board position. I hadn't thought about it in that way before, but it's such an elegant and accurate what the coin flips being a part of the mechanics do for the game. And it's something I hadn't really considered. Because there's so much of the information in Pocket, and even regular Pokemon TCG, is face up on the table. Honestly, it's more face up in Pocket than regular TCG because you have less cards in your hand. So the coin flips adding an element of this is less deterministic has a lot of value in terms of strategic depth. Oh, this is fine. I have an Expedia. How do you approach picking your third neutral Pokemon in a deck like this? Thank you for the 2/3 of a year, Jake Online. So the idea behind Kangaskhan, as opposed to say, Kangaskhan and Farfetch'd have been my two primary neutral Pokemon that I've played a bunch of. And the idea behind Kangaskhan in this deck is I want someone who buys me more time, because setting up these stage 2 Pokemon takes a lot of time. So I'm favoring Kangaskhan for the sake of... Oh yeah! Crack 'em, Kangaskhan, for the sake of being tankier, basically. Whereas Farfetch'd, I like that it does more damage even if it gets knocked out quicker in decks that are a little bit more aggressive. So things that are playing like heavy hitting stage 1s, I tend to favor Farfetch'd as opposed to Kangaskhan. Yeah, the double hit on the Arbok here is huge because it means Greninja is able to finish with the Water Shuriken next turn. And then I get to punch something else with Mama Bear here up front. Okay, any opposition to referring to Kangaskhan moving forward as Mama Bear? That was the first time we did it and it felt very, very natural. Well, that's our 1 match point to 1 match point here. And you play Kangaskhan over Snorlax because you want to be able to... I think Snorlax is potentially one of, if not the worst card in Pokemon Pocket right now. I think people trying to play Snorlax to stall up front, basically giving their opponent full control over the choice of what happens when, are making a huge mistake. I think Kangaskhan forcing your opponent to actually respect what you're doing is a big deal. To 1,100 people in here for some Pokemon Pocket this morning? That's great. I bet this game's gonna pop off, chat. I've had so much fun with it. The collecting aspect is good. The gameplay is good. It's gonna be stellar. Why is your Alakazam deck called Frog Legs? Frog Legs is what all of my Greninja X second deck are. Second Pokemon are in my deck editor. I've got like, I think half my decks right now are half Greninja decks. If you're just joining us, you no longer need a VPN to play this game. If you're using a reasonable mobile operating system, you could just install the APK file and then log in as normal. If you're using an unreasonable mobile platform, apologies. Maybe consider getting a real one. I am skeptical on playing Frog in decks that can't produce water energy. Although I guess playing it with just Misty is something I'm open to at some point. You ever seen a Kangaskhan strangle a Spearow on turn 1 with its bare hands, chat? Now you have. Now you have! Put the nukes up! Put the nukes up! I actually won a game over the weekend with this deck where I flipped 9 tails in a row with Kangaskhan. Oh, which is it? Is it a 9 tails or is it a Kangaskhan? Asking the real questions. Alright, Kanga, how you feel about strangling another bird, bud? You think that could be in the cards? So, Alakazam is another card that I think could be good with Greninja, because again, it takes 2 colorless energy. So I've been trying to pair Greninja with other Pokemon that only need 1 single colored energy. Unlucky! Gosh! Just the unluckiest Pokemon Pocket player you've ever seen, chat. I'm just playing something similar to the Gengar deck highlight from this morning. And Gengar's pretty sweet. This is one of the reasons why I played my Sabrina out proactively there, is Gengar locks you out of being able to play supporters, so getting your supporters in early against it is ideal. Our Alakazam is also really mediocre in this matchup. Alakazam does damage based on the number of energies they have on them, and this character explicitly only needs 1. And then, again, talking about just that risk associated with playing a 2-color deck, this is, again, I'm going to have 3 water energies in a row here, so I can't even put up Alakazam and crack with it next turn, because I hit 3 water energies in a row here. That big question mark in my mind is the payoff for 2 colors worth the inconsistency? Kangaskhan is here to buy us some time here, hopefully. Maybe do some damage too, but ideally buy us some time. Kangaskhan's got a little bit of variance baked into his kit here, obviously, but he does average 30 damage for 1 energy on a 100 hit point basic. His primary downside, or her primary downside, whoever's primary downside, is that the retreat cost is 3. Can someone educate me? Male kangaroos don't have pouches, right? Do male Kangaskhan's have pouches? Someone help me out here. If We high roll this Dizzy Punch. We get the knockout with the Greninja next turn. Rats. That being said, we are only playing a one prize deck here. So they get the KO on this Kangaskhan, but they're only going to be up to 2 points because we're not playing any EXs. I guess there's no prizes in this game, so maybe we need a different vernacular other than saying one prize. That's their second knockout point. Tap 20 points on the Fearow in the back. I don't know that they have anything that lives the Alakazam at this point, though. I get to crack this Gengar for 90. And then this Alakazam hits for 60 plus 30 more for each energy on their Pokemon, and then Greninja can put up an extra 20. So, like, we're threatening 140 on this Fearow here. So the almost 2-year hedge. You got any beginner decks? I don't think there's any decks that are explicitly more or less beginner friendly. We can say single point, yeah. So Fearow can pull an energy off, but that's usually only relevant in like the Mewtwo and Charizard matchups. Alakazam. I like that the attack queue shows me here that we're dealing 120. It calculates the extra from the energy, so this gets our third point. That's a clean win. Unless you're in other colors that could possibly have things. So like other ones I like are like Clefable or Marowak non-EX, Rapidash. Those have similar stat lines that I think are very reasonable. Melmetal was the last card, mechanically unique card I have pulled, and we've not played with it yet. We will definitely play some Melmetal tomorrow. I haven't decided exactly what that's going to look like yet, but something involving Melmetal is going to happen on stream tomorrow. One of the fun things about Abra is that Abra's attack here is actually a free switch. So we can put an energy on this and pull it out without losing that energy, which is nice. It means we lose our attack for that turn, but I think that's okay. Something that's actually super relevant here about Kangaskhan as the opener is that Kangaskhan survives a hit for 90 from EX Pikachu. Has a lot of relevance. I've been putting Cosmic Flares on Pokemon that I've been enjoying playing with, yes. I guess this only has 80. So yeah, if they have Zebra Strike's another character that feels really strong. Does 30 to anything. Oh, this doesn't... I think they thought the Zebra Strike was gonna get to KO my Abra here, but that is not how that works, bud. Giovanni explicitly says to active Pokemon is noteworthy here. So, Kadabra here only does plus 20 health to this Abra, so I'm not evolving. Oh, I should have Sabrina them before I showed them Greninja. They can't, like, Zebra Strike my Greninja for 50. Yep, and there's the Pikachu EX. And again, even if they hit the extra bench Pokemon for this Pikachu EX, they're gonna need another Giovanni like they just wasted. We could have been in trouble if they had third bench, they have third bench plus a Giovanni here. But without both of those, we're okay with Kangaskhan flying us on their turn, I think. TJ, thank you for the 7 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Okay, they can't Giovanni me, but they can put up another bench Pokemon now. So they are taking a knockout on Abra then? That's fine. We'll get to keep pressuring Pikachu EX with the Greninja, which is nice. And again, one of the upsides here of being an all one-point deck is my opponent is going to have to knock out 3 of my Pokemon, whereas if they want to start pressuring with Pikachu, they're going to have to risk giving up 2 knockout points with this Pikachu. One of the other things that's nice about Kangaskhan in this particular deck is that one of the downsides to Kangaskhan is people can kind of retreat back to the bench for the starting damage you put on it, and Greninja's ability makes it so they can't just bail and not get punished for it, because Greninja can kind of pick off what's left on the back line. Giovanni, I think, is like the 3rd best supporter card. Giovanni is like, it's like the one I reach for after Sabrina. A lot of my decks when I'm looking at trainers, I like start on, my trainer priority is research and then Pokeball, and then usually I move into Sabrina followed by Giovanni. So Kangaskhan's actually not bad for us. Definitely evolving here. I want a Water Shuriken and spread. I want both their Pikachu EXs to potentially be soft here. And then I think I just start powering up the Alakazam as a hitter potentially. Come on, Mama, get him! Get him, Mama! Oh, yeah! Oh, Mama! Oh. I believe we're currently generating some Kangaskhan believers in the audience. You can be a fickle mistress, but man, if she ain't wonderful. Got me. I mean, I guess this takes an energy out of me, right? So it means I couldn't put that energy on Alakazam this turn if I want to attack. And again, these EX Pokemon award 2 knockout points. So if they take their 2nd point knocking out my Kangaskhan, I'm gonna get to flip in Greninja and knock out this EX Pikachu. Getting the last 10% was expensive. It cost me about 300 to get to like 99%. But getting the majority of it isn't terrible. It's also worth noting that this game's gonna have a trading mechanic / system in it, and that hasn't been implemented as of yet. So my opponent played both their potions. That's gonna be a big question mark as to how the economy goes. They've not played any potions yet. They might not have room for potion, but it's a common enough card that I want to play around it. So basically, thinking about trying to play around potion is going to dictate where my Greninja damage ends up going here. So I'm going to Greninja. I could be greedy and try and just Greninja down this weak Pikachu EX over the course of a couple of turns. But what I want to be able to do is be able to KO either Pikachu EX in one through a potion. Is that 90% of art or 2 cards each? No, functionally complete. Mechanically unique cards. I'm talking about those numbers. What's their out to win this game? It involves a replace bench Pokemon and another Geo Body. I don't believe I have Potion in the deck. I'm playing X-Speed, which may or may not be correct. X-Speed has a lot of value in your early games, but it's worse in the late game like this. But they have to have 2 specific cards here. That being said, there's only 3 cards in their deck, so their odds of having those 2 specifics are relatively high. Alright, is there a Geo Body? Yep. Alright, and we're done here. Grindy game. For a knockout point, though. Thanks for making it to the end of the deck highlight. Make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you want more deck highlights like this one, other game news updates with everything related to Pokemon Pocket as we head towards that October 30th global release.